Radio Days 2024. I'm Des Paul. I'm the room host today, so well done for finding us, because I know it's quite a confusing layout. Originally, I thought we were in room 5, track 4, but we are actually room 4, track 4. And we've got a great day of sessions for you today, talking about podcasts and branded content, in-car content. And just a little bit of housekeeping. If you want to save your mobile data, the Wi-Fi here is RDE24. If you haven't seen that yet, you can jump on that. And also, I must say hello to our gold sponsors, thanks to RCS, David Systems, Radio Player and Xperi, and also thanks to our partners XPLR, who are our main Bavarian hosting partners this year, and also looked after us for the party if you were at the Blitz Club last night. You've done very well if you were there to be here this morning. So as I said, some great sessions, and to start with a brilliant talk about a very successful podcast in Norway, which is called Med Alla Respect, with all respect. And you're part of a little sort of exclusive club this morning, being in the session and getting here early, because we're going to talk about the secrets of success and how to target and reach a particular sector of the audience. So to tell us more and introduce the team behind this great podcast, please welcome Iram Ansari from NRK.
Thank you. I'm just going to have a sound check. Great, perfect. Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see you here. I am so lucky to be interviewing the big stars in my company, I would say. So please put your hands up together for Baker Hussain, Galvan Mehidi, Lina, Shahin, and Sandeep Singh.
Okay. Come on. All right, how you want to do this? Like this?
Yeah, I think maybe someone would join me. That would be nice as well. Great, there, Tara, nice. Okay, so before we talk about the secret sauce, I just wanted you to just get a sort of impression of how this podcast may look like. So may we have a clip and watch a clip? And we can just go to the side, guys.
Jeg er jo en person som er litt redd for fly. Vi går på flyet. Allerede i liksom gaten så begynner jeg å merke at det her blir tungt. Dette blir tungt, dette blir vanskelig. Og
vi er en gjeng med svartinger som sitter på første rad. Så jeg liker å si litt høyere enn normalt. Deilig at vi sitter i sånn her cockpiten da, gutta!
Under sikkerhetsdemonstrasjonen så var det jo musestille i flyet, fordi alle fulgte med på hun utrolig blide flyvertinna som...
Hun var helt nydelig.
Med flakkende blikk bort til vår rad.
Ja, og Galvan presterer å si «Trust me, daddy!»
Jeg sa ikke til henne, jeg sa til Abu, for Abu sitter og er livredd på en flyturen. Jeg har faktisk lyst til å prøve den vesten, den der oppblåsbare vesten. Så sa jeg, det har du ikke, ass. Trust me, daddy, sa jeg. Ja, hele flyet trodde at jeg sa, når hun sa sånn, å ta på den sånn, så hører du bare meg si, trust me, daddy.
Men har du noensinne hørt noe mer terror enn en svær pakistaner som jeg har lyst til å prøve sikkerhetsvesten?
Ja.
Jeg har lyst til å prøve din. Hva annet betyr det enn at flyet skal ned? Flyet skal ned, jeg skal prøve vesten.
So, before we start, I just need to ask Abu. Abu, what is it about the fact that you wanted to try that vest on?
It looks like fun.
Right, it looks like.
When I was like traveling as a child, I always saw like the aerosols pull the what is it called?
Strings? Yeah, the strings. But they pretend pull.
Yeah, but I want to not pretend pull.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so now at least we got that clear, because that was something I really needed to get an answer to. So, Galvan, topics like being afraid of flying, like we saw in this clip, is that the kind of topic that you talk about, or what other topics do you talk about in your podcast?
Yes and no, because we've spent 6 years now building up a fan base, which understands our lingo and understands how we talk. So this is about we went on a tour, so we talked about the tour. But yeah, it's everyday situations seen from our perspective, of course. And everybody wants to make a podcast. So it was how I see the world. And but yeah, I don't know if that's a good answer. Yeah,
I think I got it. But Sandeep, how do you get ideas for your topics?
Well, usually we've actually before we go into the studio, we're supposed to meet 1 hour before
We usually meet 5 minutes before because someone's up having a cigarette on the roof or trying to get lunch. So we end up having like a meeting at the desk for 5 minutes, and we're like, okay, what do you guys want to talk about today? And we just spar for 5 minutes before we go into the studio and record.
Preparing is not your strongest side.
No,
And we make 4 episodes a week, so it's quite a lot. And there's so much you can say, like yesterday this happened or yesterday this happened. Your job is your life, and that's why it's we try to live in the moment and try to
try to look at every moment as content or as as inspiration for content. So when we meet each other, we know that, okay, this happened to me. The cab driver told me this. It's funny to pick this up in that way, and we just go ahead. And we trust each other so much that we know sort of how to push each other's buttons. We've made this show for 5.5 years, but we've known each other for more than 10. Right. So we know sort of what the rest of the group really, what ignites them. You know what I mean?
Which brings me to my next questions to Tara. Tara, what is the roughest topic you've talked about in the podcast?
I don't know the roughest, but I find some topics harder to stomach than others, personally, at least. Like,
do you have any examples?
Politics, huge, major events in, terrorism, war. I always find that really hard because I never know what this guy will say. And I think you are the Lucius Canoon.
Lucius Canoon?
Canon. I'm sorry, my English is really bad. And you are the more diplomatic one of us, Sandeep. But yeah.
So are you characters?
In life?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, yeah.
There's a huge debate right now in Norway, which there's a TV program. 2 white guys have a TV program where they...
that's the debate.
That's the debate. No, the debate is they have the most racist, the most sexist jokes imaginable. It's a public broadcaster, so the debate is how can a public broadcaster broadcast this? And I think it's a consensus that this show is okay because these guys are characters where they show the worst kinds of people, and I think we underestimate the audience a lot of times because people see these people as characters and see them as the worst types of humans. And we know the guys personally, and they're the sweetest people alive. Yeah. And I think the thing is that we also touch on very rough topics, and I think also our audience knows that these are characters, and we underestimate audiences a lot, and especially public broadcasters who are usually not afraid of sponsors pulling out or something like that, but they're afraid of the public opinion. But I think Norway is in a paradigm shift where we know that the audience is much smarter to see what's the character and what's hate speech and what's comedy, and
So you never gotten complaints?
Yeah, of course.
We've gotten complaints.
A lot of complaints.
Our merch says morapuler, which is Norwegian for mother. Yeah. Are there anyone under the age of 18? Yeah, it means motherfucker. So, and it's like a Metallica parody, our T-shirt. But that was there was a complaint to Kringkastingsrådet. How do you sort of pronounce it? The broadcaster board or something. Yeah, because how can a public broadcaster spend tax money on merch like that? We've had complaints about how we've spoken about certain groups or people, mostly when we talk about Norwegian white men. They're the ones to complain the loudest. While if we joke about Filipinos or Eritreans or Desis or anything, we don't get that many complaints.
Shocker.
Yeah, but answering the question you asked Tara, what's the roughest things we've spoken about? I found the past year, 3 of us have lost our fathers. Anders, Tara, and me. And we were very quick to sort of make light of the situation. And that has really garnered response from other people who've lost people. And we've realized that those episodes really sort of, so when we're personal, that's a strength for us.
And we still have 2 fathers left.
Yeah.
Just waiting. And even the roughest topics where the newspapers picked it up and like front page stuff, they tried a couple of times, but the thing is that NRK, which is our broadcaster, were very quick to call us and be like, whatever happens, we've got your back.
We've got you.
Whatever. We can't, you're not going to get fired. You're not going to do this. Whatever happens, you have a job after this. So having a broadcaster having your back, because they know that when we've made about 900 episodes, and you know that you're going to say something messed up. Sometimes we've done 1.5 years live on radio, and then now just a podcast and a little bit of radio. So they know that there's going to be some misspeaking or some heat of the moment stuff. But NRK has been very quick. And that's, as podcasters, it's super liberating to have a broadcaster be there for you.
And it helps that our boss is a former UN lieutenant, so nobody wants to. Nobody wants to mess with him.
Okay, but for the record, Med All Respect has continuously been on the top 20, even top 10 podcasts in Norway. So maybe that's a reason as well why you get so much support. But let's talk about target audience and success, because that's what we're here to talk about, basically. So, why do you think that is, that you've been on the top podcast, 20 podcasts of Norway, top 10 even? Why do you think that is?
Well, when we started out, we were very quick to sort of, make it clear to NRK that we weren't that occupied with having like the largest numbers like some podcasts had, like, because we wanted to build it organically. We wanted to sort of have no compromises, because there were like ideas. What about if you do like stunt reports and stuff like that to like sort of make a commotion? And we were like, but then people will think that we're stunt reporters, and that's not us. So we just kept it very basic, did what we did. We kept our like internal lingo, our tribe speak, without over explaining it. And I think
tribe speak, you need to
tribe speak as in like internal tropes, and because Norwegian multiculture is different from Swedish multiculture or German or British, because the sort of ratio of all the cultures is different, even from city to city.
It's much smaller in Norway.
Yeah, and it's much smaller.
It's in its infancy, like multiculturalism.
So multicultural is more uniform. So we, like, when you go when you grow up in a multicultural area, you learn every single language, and you basically learn how to swear in 14 different languages. So we use that unique Norwegian multiculture to build sort of our own universe, because that hasn't been done as much in Norway. People started doing that like 5-6 years ago.
And in the beginning we had like old school radio producers, which always was in our ear, and like, explain this word and explain that word, and you have to explain this to the listener.
You have to say this word, pronounce it correctly. Well, this is how the streets pronounce it.
Yeah, and I think that works.
So you use slang for sure.
Yeah, but I think that worked against us when the producers were telling us to try to explain it to everybody, because our core listeners felt like we weren't talking to them. Yeah, we were talking to somebody else.
We're patronizing them.
And remind us who they are. Who is in the target audience?
Oh yeah, but we didn't have a target audience. Yeah, that was we didn't think target audience, because we agreed that we're making this show for ourselves. Because if we like what we do, other people will like it. So because I have a theory that how people think target audiences. You have to, okay, how do we reach the youth? Okay, you're going to reach Sophie, 19. She goes to this school. This is the person you're going to reach. And the lie starts there, because you're like cosplaying a different person, and the authenticity is sort of like pushed aside then. So we figured, okay, what kind of show will we listen to? So that was our target audience, and we just took we just put target audience aside, and we started concentrating on reach instead. And we noticed when we started doing live shows that our reach was way beyond what we expected, because all of a sudden we thought we were talking to like 30-somethings, but there were like 17-year-old kids, there were 60-year-old women in friend groups, people from all ethnicities, girls with hijabs. There was a gang of Tamils and Filipinos and everything. And we were like, okay, wow, this is gold, because now we can ridicule all these people as well. So that, yeah.
This is how the podcast sounds like. Me and him talking and not letting them speak. Every episode.
No, but Abu and Tara, do you agree with what Sandeep is saying regarding the target audience and how you guys are thinking that you are the target audience?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. I came in 5 years after you started the podcast.
4 years.
4 years, sorry. So I saw the podcast from the outside, and for me also it was really interesting to go at the live shows and like experience the diversity. And
yeah, because who would be in the audience on those live shows?
Everybody here and like everybody else in a way. And I think that's pretty unique for this podcast specifically for NRK. And I don't know if it's because of Scum, that series that did really good.
Yeah, the drama series Scum.
Yeah, they had the model that was if you can reach Sophia 14, you can reach everybody else. And for a time, NRK used that model and that model only. But I think they're going away from that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I think you have to try to reach a niche audience to then reach bigger.
Broader.
Yeah, because like I said, I think that when we didn't compromise on what kind of language we used, or didn't try to explain away everything and try to water our message out, I think the listeners, the core audience, really liked being directly talked to, and I think new audiences were more curious.
Yeah, intrigued.
Because if you water your content down, it's not for anyone.
What do you mean by watering your content down?
If you make it generic, you try. If you strive to reach out to a lot of people, everyone, then you have to water it down, because you have to shave away everything that sort of makes you inaccessible in a way.
We need a broad audience, or we need a broad target audience, or something like that. But and that's the main job of a public broadcaster, I feel. But they have to do that in the diversity of shows and programs, not every single show. So you have to make a lot of different shows with a lot of different niche audiences instead of watering out everything.
And I think also the direct contact we have with our listeners is very unique. Not unique, but we have our Instagram that NRK wanted us to delete, and because they're trying to make everything on one platform.
Proprietary philosophy of NRK has shut down like every single major Instagram account, and they've asked us to do it a few times, but we've like politely ignored because every time they've asked us to like make a change, okay, you have to add P13 or P3, which are the radio station's names, into the names. They've decided a few months later, okay, we have to delete every single thing that has to do with P3, that has P3 in their names.
So you're basically breaking the rules.
Yeah, we are, but we're not, we're not employed by NRK. We're freelancers, really. So we don't have to abide by all those rules, and we know that, we reach a target audience or an audience that NRK has struggled. So we sort of have a bit leverage to not always listen. Right.
So you're talking about having a broad audience, but it is a fact that you are popular among the youth as well, right? We can agree on that, right?
Multicultural youth as well. That's probably our strength.
Youth, So basically, I think many people in the audience here would want to know what you've said it. I've heard many things, but just specify. What do you specifically do to reach out to the youth, or is there a recipe?
I think the chaos within us, you have to see it from the outside to really explain it, because we don't really think about it that much. But we are 5 very different people with a common ground. We have the same sense of humor, but we have different cultural backgrounds. We grew up in different parts of Norway. So we bring in a lot of diversity. We listen to different types of music. We watch different types of films. That diversity is as important as the diversity of our ethnicity. So you have to look at diversity in different ways. And I think we represent a lot more diversity than you assume just by looking at us.
Galvan.
And there's also a new kind of immigrant, I will say, because you have there's their own culture in second-generation immigrants. Because I have more in common with an Indian and a Pakistani or Kurdish or a Somali or a Vietnamese person than I have with my cousin in Kurdistan. Because we don't connect in the same way. So I think the youth and the new generation really needs that perspective as well, because I'm not speaking as a Kurd, I'm speaking as a Norwegian immigrant.
Diaspora.
Yeah, of course. And because until now, every like multicultural humor program has been what do you call it? Nedlatende.
Condescending.
Yeah, a little bit condescending. It's always to the extreme, and we can do it from the extreme as well. But we have some foundation for it.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, so yeah, I understand. You have, like, as we talked about, what are the do's and the don'ts.
Yeah.
Right.
And don't be afraid to make humor out of groups you don't belong to, as long as it's done correctly, as long as it's done in an inclusive way.
But that would require research.
Yeah, exactly. You have to do your homework, because I remember that growing up in Norway. You had a lot of humor when there were only white Norwegian comedians. You had a lot of humor that was ridiculing immigrants, but you also had humor that included us. Like, they did their homework, their research on like what type of culture they were messing with, and you felt seen and appreciated, and like, wow, I'm part of the greater Norway as well, because they're making fun of us in such a manner.
If you mess with other cultures, do your research.
Yeah.
Well, you have Robert Stoltenberg, which is a character comedian in Norway, which did a Pakistani character.
Yeah, in brownface, like 20 years ago.
But till this day, everybody's like, that was okay.
Yeah,
because he was super legit, then he felt like he knew the culture, he respected the culture, and he didn't ridicule the character. The character was a sweet Pakistani guy that worked in a flower shop.
And all other Pakistanis on TV back then were gangsters.
Yeah, gangsters. Yeah. So till this day, if that shows up, nobody's like, cancel this guy. Everybody like, but I remember
this. He won I think the prize, the Pakistani.
Yeah. He won like a prize, like a cultural
Pakistani award.
Yeah, bridge building award from the Pakistani community.
And I think it goes back to the show I was talking about with the two white guys in Norway, which has the super race, or when we push the envelope a little bit. I think it happened. I think it. If the audience knows that there's more to it than just plain racism or plain sexism or some outrageous stuff, I think they're smarter than we. Yeah.
And if one of us oversteps and sort of says something outrageous, we're lucky enough that we have other people in the studio that can sort of check us live.
Right.
If you're only two, or if you're alone and say something outrageous, it's really hard to save your ass.
Right.
But we're on a constant alert. If anybody oversteps anything, and we're like, we can balance it out or regulate it.
We don't want to make an echo chamber of a podcast.
Yeah. Right. Abu and Tara, I just need to put you in the center for a little second. What is your mantra for success or recipe? Like, as I asked them, what do you think is the recipe for success? What do you think when?
I think we were a group that wasn't. We don't have a lot of podcasts with our kind of people. Like, we have 5 different kind of people and a multicultural, and we even have a white guy.
He's the whitest guy alive as well.
He's really white.
He's not here. He's busy making money.
He's 2 meters tall.
He's so tall, yeah. And I have never seen or heard a podcast with our kind of people.
So when you go into the studio, what do you think I have to do for us to succeed today? Or do you think something like that?
I think like we have to get it done. I have to go home. That's the That's
just
the thought
need to
I
get
have.
it done.
No, but it's like I'm just hanging with my homies.
Right.
Like we're friends. We meet like 3 days a week.
Yeah.
2-3 days a week, and we like hang for 4 hours, and we just like talk it out.
Yeah,
Right.
and we
And
try
it
to make
never-
each other laugh.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it never feels like work either. I think all of us have had a really hard year for different reasons, but
Yeah.
3 fathers have died. But I think everyone, I've always like looked forward to coming to job. I've never felt like it's work, and I think that's
Right.
because of the environment inside our group. And I've worked with TV and radio for 10 years, but this is the first time I feel like, okay, this is work, but this is also really fun.
Yeah. It's work that gives you energy. It doesn't drain you.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just looking at the time. I have time. Yeah, I'm good. Okay, so then we need to talk about community, building community, right? Because Sandeep, on Sunday I heard you say something. We were here in one of in track 2 or something.
I
and
talk a lot. You
Yes.
have to remind me.
That's the. So what you said was that, well, we are one of the famous podcasts as well. Maybe we're not like top 1, but we have the most loyal listeners, like the community.
Yeah, yeah.
Why do you have that?
I think if a Norwegian podcast was to arrange a coup of the government, I think we'd be most likely to achieve that.
Don't say that.
Because our fans are diehard. Not that we intend to, but
Yet.
I think it has something to do with a lot of people that don't feel seen or respected by other media and pop culture in Norway. They sort of have an outlet for us because it's been really split in Norway, like the narrative of either you're Norwegian or you're an immigrant. You're like, you can't be anything between because you feel either you have to assimilate or you have to stay very true to your original culture. Well, our generation has lived sort of like in the middle, in a bubble, but we haven't had people to sort of speak out for that mix. And I think
have you done something actively to like build that community?
I think it goes back to what we were talking about with having niche content,
Right.
and having like uncompromising content. Public broadcasters should have a lot of niche content.
Do you have any examples?
No, the example Tara used is Scum, which is a good example. Scum was a TV series, drama series from Norway, which exceeded the boundaries of Norway. It was a show about teenagers from Norway. It was not about their parents. It was not about their siblings. It was about this little gang, and it focuses. It was uncompromising. It was their problems, first world problems, but their problems, and it was immensely successful. It's outside of Norway as well, and I think that was a great model because it didn't compromise. It didn't. The show wasn't like, what does the parents think about their problems? It didn't take a lot of detours. It focused on that specific topic, and I think Molde Spec does as well. Our diaspora things, and I think it's just trying to. Not listening to, like I said, producers that are a little bit old school. Like they know how to tell a story, how to open a story, and how to like properly tell one. But the content should not be touched.
Right.
The content should be,
Tara?
I think also the way we are checking ourselves in the group, we're also checking our listeners in some kind of way. And I think that the direct speak really translates well with them.
Yeah.
And they see us as actually friends.
So, do you get a lot of feedback from your listeners?
A lot.
What do they say? Like, do you have
That they hate us?
Yeah. They say don't eat raw bacon. That's they've said that a lot of times.
why?
Because she
ate raw bacon.
For a while, she thought raw bacon was a
normal bacon.
normal bacon.
To my defense, some bacon in Norway at least is already cooked or smoked.
Not that one you.
And I grew up in a pretty liberal home, but we didn't eat pork. That was the only thing. So when I moved out when I was 18, the first thing I did was
Eat raw
eat a
bacon.
lot of
Raw bacon.
bacon.
So,
Catch up for last year.
Tara, did you take their feedback? Do you
Yes.
still eat?
We
I
don't
don't
know.
eat bacon anymore, so
Cooked or raw?
cooked or raw.
She got sick because she ate the raw shiitake
Shiitake,
mushrooms.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Any other?
Yeah, det er veldig.
So okay, so food advice. Other things, other feedbacks.
No, we get a lot of feedback, and some people are against our. It always fascinates me that we make fun of everybody, ourselves, all types of cultures. But there's always somebody that sends us a message, and we're like, "I've listened to you for 6 years, and now you've gone too far." Like, now? When I touched on your thing, and that fascinates me because I think, and that's a few people. That's very few people.
Yeah, we got a mail from a couple who had a newborn baby, and they put the Murapulir T-shirt on the baby, sent us a photo. The motherfucker T-shirt, and they said that this baby was conceived while we were singing your mail jingle.
It's horrible.
Yeah, which is
actually horrible.
It's
I don't condone that at all.
It's an honor. It's an honor. But yeah, we get a lot of mails from people who are struggling with mental health or culture clash. When we also we've tried our best, even though we're not competent at all, to help rape victims who've sent us mails, and we try to respect every. We make a lot of fun of the mails, but we know when we have to be serious as well. So we have hour-long episodes that are just real talk.
What do you mean we make a lot of fun out of the mail?
Yeah, we it's a part of the premise, a part of the contract. When you send us a mail, you sort of put yourself for
you mention it in the podcast.
Yeah. So we roast the hell out of them if they have if they don't type right, or we struggle to understand the content, or if they're just being foolish. We're very direct, but sometimes we know that this is serious. We have to treat this seriously, and then we have the hour-long meeting beforehand to really discuss.
Then you prepare.
Yeah, then we prepare. But yeah, we get all types of mails, and I think people feel that they can sort of confess to us a lot of the times. They even do that on live shows. They come on stage.
What do you mean by confess?
Yeah, confess that they shat themselves on a gas station once. It can be very, very graphic things.
That was me.
Yeah, that was you. But it's people use us as they used the Catholic Church back in the day.
Right.
So
they give us money. Also going from radio to podcast now, but podcasting and radioing 4 days a week for 5 years.
Yeah.
You will
900 episodes now.
900 episodes. You will meet the audience that is lonely, and the only maybe the only interaction they have is with us.
Yeah.
So it's a great responsibility, but we don't always.
And I think people don't feel excluded from the hate or the love. I feel that when we touch on every topic and every edge of the topic, I can say something extreme about, let's see, Vietnamese people, or fordom, vad heter det på?
Yeah, prejudice.
Yeah, about Vietnamese people. She can check me and touch on my Kurdishness, or I think we touch on everything, what people think, and then we dismantle it again. Right. So I think it's, and I think people feel, I don't know why, but we have also a huge trans audience.
Yeah.
For some reason, we don't have that much trans content.
But we had that J.K. Rowling talk about TERFs once, and I remember we got a few mails, but very friendly mails explaining the situation.
Yeah, even though we say something wrong about that topic, we get mails from the people in that community which check us but still listen to us. So I think it's I think everybody feels included in the hate.
Yeah.
Not hate.
Because everything is with respect, you know. We say everything
with all due respect.
Yeah. Right. So have you ever built an entire episode based on your community's feedback?
Once a week we have something called Trassrådet, which is our mailbox.
Spite Council. It means Spite Council. It's an old reference, but we have a council to help our listeners with their everyday problems.
And then we get feedback and we get questions.
And then we give away a T-shirt to the best question, or the question that has gain the most
enthusiasm.
Yeah. So it's always fun to go to the live shows and see people with the T-shirts, and you know that.
They'll ask the fucked up question.
Right. Okay, that explains it. Okay, so just going in for landing here. Just my last question. So I know that you went from a live show to only podcast, like you were on
radio.
Only, So how do you think? What's better?
Podcast.
I really like when the red light is on because I feel that it gives you some. You have to tighten up a bit and you have to be more on hands.
Yeah.
But you guys have been doing this for 5 years. I've mostly been doing podcasts since until. So I hated it when we first went away from it. But now I feel that we can talk about the things that we like and not be. Having to reach the
you have the short radio deadlines. Okay, this, you can talk about this for 4 minutes and you have to go to a song. You have to talk about this for 5 minutes. But while a lot of the times it takes 6 or 8 minutes to get into the thick of the conversation, and you have to sort of abruptly stop that. So the flow is a lot better now that we're a podcast because we talk a lot.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, giving us the secret sauce, Galvan. Did you have it?
No,
Thank you so much for sharing, guys. Give them a hand.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a great opening session. Hopefully you've managed to take some notes from that, some really interesting takeouts from there. I think if you serve a niche right, the audience will come. And it's certainly very much finding the audience that you want to listen to, making a show that you'd want to listen to. And the key to that is authenticity, which is something that podcasts obviously do in spades compared to broadcast media. But thank you very much for that. We're going to take a 20-minute break and then we're going to talk about branded content within podcasts. So I'll see you in 20 minutes.